If you train jiu-jitsu, Brazilian jiu-jitsu, and you carry concealed, you have a problem you don't even know you have. Your holster is your weak point. And when the fight hits the ground, weak points get you killed. And on the street or on the mat, the man who controls the weapon controls the outcome. And if you lose your gun, you lose your life. That's a fact. I'm Aaron Cohen. I served in Israel's elite Mista Haravim unit. We specialize in undercover snatch and grab operations. You might have seen the show Fauda on Netflix. The unit was the inspiration for the show. And we do these kinds of operations in some of the most dangerous places in the Middle East. When I came back to the U.S. after I served, I spent the next 15 years, both as a reserve law enforcement officer, training SWAT teams and patrol officers across the country in high-threat response. That included active shooter, different counterterrorism tactics. I was also one of Keanu Reeves' instructors for the John Wick franchise. I've also written a memoir about my time in Israeli special operations. And today, I continue to work in media, helping people understand the realities of terrorism, violence, and survival in a cultural world that's crashing down. And I'm not telling you this to impress you. I'm telling you this because this is where the genesis of my deep concealment holster comes from. It comes from real-world experience, comes from real-world violence, and it's built for people who understand what's at stake. So I want to talk about the Israeli Mista Haravim units. There's one in the IDF. There's several in Israel's police and border patrol. Israel's undercover snatch and grab unit, we don't guess. And the holster has to stay welded to our bodies. So every grab, every arrest, every takedown, every slam into the ground, if that gun comes loose, it's not just your life that's on the line. It could be your entire team. And so I built the holster because I had to. And I've seen what happens when you get tangled up with some terrorist courier in an alley in Shrem or Nablus, when someone goes down to the dirt, when someone goes for that waistband, if that gun comes loose, you're dead. And that's the truth that I don't think a lot of people today want to face when it comes to the reality of concealed carry. So with standard holsters, in my opinion, gravity works against them. Unless you're working law enforcement and you've got your duty belt on with your retention. They ride high, even if you're carrying IWB, they move, and they can fail under that pressure. And so I designed a holster that rides below the belt line, and it literally becomes a part of your body. You can scramble, invert, and fight for your life, and the gun stays where it needs to be. You can see where the gun rides in relation to the clip. So it's locked to the center of gravity, exactly where the fight happens. I want to talk about carrying in relation to Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu because BJJ has just blown up. Everyone's training in it. And most BJJ guys think it's about comfort or concealment. And they forget the fight isn't about tapping. It's about survival. If you're carrying concealed and you're out there, even if you're a black belt, doesn't matter. It's about survival on the streets. And when you introduce a weapon into a fight, you can't afford for the other guy to even know that it's there. You've got to carry concealed. So, you either dominate the space and you understand it or you die. And the holster, in my opinion, isn't so much about comfort. It's about survival. And so I want to talk about the use of force window and why it gets blurry fast. And here's what I think a lot of people miss when it comes to concealed carry. When you carry a gun, obviously there's very strict rules about when you can and can't, and the escalation and de-escalation of lethal force. You can't pull your weapon just because you're losing a fight. Legally, the threat has to meet that deadly force threshold. But the problem is that in real fights, that line gets blurry really fast, especially when you're on the ground, especially when it's hands-on, or if there's multiple attackers, especially when you're carrying. And that's why that holster can't fail. Because if you're in a hands-on fight and you lose your gun before you're legally justified to use it, you just gave the bad guy the gun and the right to kill you with it. And so in my opinion, this is why concealed carriers need to train for that chaos between the de-escalation and that deadly force. And that's exactly why I built this particular holster for that particular type of fight. And so when I trained Keanu for John Wick, it was really important with the production that he trained with gear that works. He was doing a lot of handsy stuff, a lot of fighting, that gun jitsu, that mix of BJJ and strikes and shooting. And so even though it's for the screen, it's also got to be something that's not going to fall off when Keanu's moving. And I trained him with the same holster that I designed, because even when the cameras are off, people who run this holster are dealing with real threats. It's not film. So there's no gimmicks. You just want something that's going to work. And again, something that's not going to fall off you when you have to go hands-on. And the holster allowed Keanu to do a tremendous amount of movement without it coming off. And I think it worked really well for the franchise. So I want to talk about Israel. Everyone's seen combat, what we've been up to for the last 18 months dealing with Hamas. All the mistakes that we make, we learned the hard way in Israel. And everything is designed around survival under extreme violence. Everybody's seen what's been going on in Gaza. And that's the DNA of this holster. That's the DNA of the undercover units in Israel, the Mistaravim. And so I think that's what's missing in American carry culture. I think there's a lot about comfort and not enough about the combat mindset and the reality of that fight going to the ground. And so every inch of the holster that I put together is built for one specific mission. Never comes off you. That means it doesn't ever fail, and never gives somebody who's trying to kill you the chance to get your firearm if you have to go hands-on. And so again, I designed it for my unit. This is what we carry when we're plain clothes, dressed as locals, when you're heading into some of the worst places on earth. It's aggressive, lethal when it needs to be, and also actually very comfortable because of where it rides, below the waistband. But I want to address something that I think a lot of people are thinking right now as they watch this. They think that because it sits below the waistband, it must be hard to draw. It's not. You can either pocket press, you can press from outside your pants, or you can simply just reach in and pull. It's simple, it's fast, and it's exactly the way we trained it. This isn't a civilian holster. This is an undercover special ops holster. It's a warrior's tool with military-grade applications, but I think it works perfectly for CCW here in the United States. So I want to say this, and I want to be very real here, and I know that this is contentious stuff. Most fights don't start on the ground. They start standing. They start hands-on. You know, it could be a shove, might be a grab, might be a punch. It might be someone trying to rip you down to the concrete. And if you're carrying a gun, you better be damn sure it doesn't come off you. And I can't stress this enough. And when the fight goes to the ground, if it goes to the ground or not, the worst thing that can happen is you lose control of your weapon in a standing scuffle. So now you've introduced a gun into a fight that you might not win. And again, that's why I designed the holster the way that I did. It's built specifically for this and designed for fights that start ugly and that could end even uglier. And it's built for violence, you know? And it just happens to be really, really comfortable. You run this thing in the 1130 position and rides in between your thigh and the groin. There's zero digging when you're seated, so super comfortable in the car or at the desk. And again, lightning fast draw with just a little bit of training. And so there's a whole other level of violence that I just think that most BJJ guys aren't thinking about. Ground fighting while armed. And again, most people think you're going to be able to just create space, draw clean. You won't. You won't. Not when someone's on top of you trying to kill you. You're not going to have two hands. You might only have your weapon side. You might be pinned on your back. You might be bleeding. There's a ton of realities. And I can say that in those moments, the last thing that you want to be doing is fishing around for a holster that's shifted. So I really designed this thing to stay tight, to stay low against your body. And even if you're getting crushed in side control or mount, you can still draw and get lethal fast. So I want to close it out with this. A lot of people talk about train to fight, train to survive. I agree. Train all of that. Keep that mindset. But make sure that you're not trusting a holster designed for sport shooting or something that's designed to get the gun out quickly but isn't going to stay on you in the reality of that confrontation. If you guys enjoyed this and you picked up a couple of nuggets, I put a ton of links down in the description for you guys to take a deeper dive into the holster. I want to thank you guys for watching this one. I carry concealed. It's a super important subject when it comes to self-defense and personal self-defense. And let me know what you guys think down in the comments. Do you think that the reality of going down to the ground could affect your ability to be able to lose your firearm while protecting yourself? Let me know what you guys think down in the comments. Do you think that BJJ is now informing how people train to defend themselves? And should you have a concealed carry option or holster that is congruent with that type of self-defense methodology? Let me know what you guys think down in the comments. Let me know if you guys agree with me or disagree. I read them. I want to thank you guys for watching this one. If you guys don't know me, I'm the place you come for Israel, counterterrorism, the Mideast, and national security. You'll be able to catch me up on Fox News, and if not, I'm always going to be bringing you the truth here on my show, The Aaron Cohen Show. I'm Aaron Cohen. You're watching The Aaron Cohen Show, and I will catch you guys on the next one.